Hey everybody, so I'd like to start by saying thank you to everyone who subscribed. We are almost hitting that magical number of 1,000, and I'm very close. I think as of this moment that I'm recording this, I'm at 8. I need 8 more to get 1,000. I'm like, wow, getting there. So today I thought I would talk about something that's near and dear to me is my rack. I have a rack mount system on the side here. I think I've shown it before. I would say that ever since I got into music and I started seeing guys like Les Claypool, the band Living Colour, and their, guitar and bass rack systems, I've always loved racks and I've always wanted one. And I started by buying just one or two things, but I never had a full rack until about 2014. That's when I actually got the big guy over there. And the reason I got that is because I was talking to my friend who's moving to North Bay as of tomorrow of this recording, but as of Monday, he is moving to North Bay in Canada. So I had said to him, because I was recording something at his house, and I said, "Do you have a rack?" And he says, "Oh yeah, I got a rack," because he's recording everything on a Mac at this point. And I said, "Do you have one that you're willing to sell, that I can put my stuff in?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got something like that." And so he sold me this. It actually came with a patch bay on it. It came with the 1/4-inch patch bay that is there, and and so I just started buying stuff to fill in it. Now it's been a passion project. It's been an expensive project. So I thought I'd just go over some things about racks that you may or may not know. So first off, a rack is used nowadays in computers and music. Not as much in music anymore, but finding that I find that people are starting to get back into the analog stuff, and they want rack-mounted items. So they are going after. So they're starting to come after the older stuff, and there's companies that are still making rack-mounted items, and you can now your music desk can have side racks on them. So, but they are coming back. It was for a while that they weren't. So let's see. Let's talk about this. So yeah. So first off, a rack is 19 inches long. That's a standard width or length of your rack mount item. Then you have your flaps on the outside of that. And a rack measure, a width of a rack, which is called either a unit or a rack unit, is one rack unit is 1 3/4 inches. So I just got this from my friend who's moving to North Bay. This is a Personas. This is a compressor noise gate. It is 2 rack units. So that means if I stick this in a rack, it's going to take up 2 slots. And that's how you work it out. And I don't know where I'm going to put it at the moment because my rack is full. I don't know. I don't know. I bought it because I've always wanted to have more than one compressor. This has 8. That's what I want. That's what I need. So I don't need it. I'm going crazy. What can I say? So and the width, the depth, can vary. So in this case, I don't know. It's about the size of my fingers. This is pretty much standard for what I have in my rack. They're all about the same width or depth as this, but there are longer things. I think my power switch and the outlets on the back, or power conditioner, that one is longer than others. But once again, it all depends on the rack mount system, on what you're using. So that's 2 things. My rack is 13 units high. I actually extended it because there was a slot on the bottom that was used for ventilation, but the ventilation thing was off. So I went and I bought rack mounts for it, put them in, and that is now, so it has a 2 slot down there as well. So it's got a 2 unit down at the bottom, which has my 5-channel power amp that I use when we do a live, we're practicing in here. So it powers up the speakers that are over in this corner. and so that's what we use it for vocals. So I'm going to go over the pros and the cons here. So, pro, everything is in one spot and easily accessible. Yes, that is the beauty of a rack. Everything in that rack is accessible. I can just go and, I can go plug things in, and I don't have to go and like pull and plug and get battery power, like get adapters out and stuff for pedals and that. I just do it all in the rack, and it's beautiful. I love it for that reason. That's one thing which I really like about it. It's just nice to be able to go plug, and then the top is the very top is a 16 channel XLR patch bay, which 8 of them is going into the DP32. The other ones are kind of is currently I'm only using 4 of them, and they're the in-outs for the for my DBX compressor on the system. So yeah, it's very nice to have. So also easy portability. Now, what I love about this rack is it has wheels. So I could technically, if we ever did a show and I needed to use my power amp or whatever, or if I wanted to record it somewhere else, I could just pull all the wiring out of the DP32, out of the speakers over in the corner, and I could just shove it in the back there. I could wheel it up onto a trailer, and I could take it wherever I want, and I could unwheel it. And because I'm smart and I labeled everything, I can just plug it all back in, and then we're set to go. Not a lot of fuss and muss with it. That's what I like about it. Now, I've never done that. Actually, the only time I have used the power amp for vocals at a show once, but I took the power amp out because I really didn't want to lug this thing, because I didn't have a ramp to lug it, to push it up on and lug it out of the house, because it is quite heavy. But it is also nice, like when I clean, I can just roll it wherever I want and clean, and so that's nice. All right, so now the cons of owning a rack system. So changing the setup can be difficult. Give me 1 second, I'll show you why. So I use this. This is a light. It's not on at the moment. Can't really tell, it's reflecting from the light outside. But I use this so that I can see behind there, because it is way too dark for me to just go and start plugging things in and trying to figure out what's what. And there's on certain rack items, I don't use certain things. Like I'm not using a side chain on some of the compressors, so I don't have them plugged in. So trying to figure out what I'm plugging into can be difficult. So I wear this. So you have to have some kind of lighting to get behind there. I don't change that thing very often or at all if I don't have to, because it is a lot of work. So let's go to the next one here. Can be a connection nightmare if not labeled. Yes. So I have everything labeled on my rack. If any of the effects and that, they are labeled. They say which channels they will use. They say which XLRs they are. On the patch bay, the first 8 are marked A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H to match up with the DP32, so that I don't have to do that. I also label the cables that come from the DP32 or from the rack into the DP32. So all snakes are labeled. Anything that's connected behind there, I have labeled on the front here on there, so that I can go and I go, oh, this is effects 1. This goes into effects 1 onto the DP32. So anytime I move anything, it is labeled. It has to be. Now, like I said, my friend he actually gave me the cabling to the rack mount along with it. And as you can see, let's see if I can spin it around here. You can see this one is labeled 1 ring. And the reason it is because you don't want to like mess with it. Once it's plugged in, you don't want to have to go and try to, do a grab the wire and then pull across and see, okay, where does this go? You want it to be as easy as possible. And that's how we do it. Otherwise you're going to be like stuck. It's terrible. And lastly, rack mount stuff can be expensive. And I remember reading a magazine where they're talking about it, the difference between a rack mount item and a pedal of the same thing, where there was no difference, but the rack mount item did cost more because there was more metal and stuff, where the pedal is, a pedal, and a rack is a rack. It's larger. So yeah, you may end up paying more. And then there's also warnings on certain things that they get warm, so don't put anything that is sensitive to heat close to it. So you wouldn't put certain, I'm assuming, like, I don't have any tube stuff on any of mine in my rack, but if you did, you would keep them in a different location than your solid state stuff, because you just don't want the heat to tamper with them, because tubes can get very warm. But I don't have that problem here, so that's also nice. So that is my video today. Thanks again to everyone for subscribing, and you are the greatest, and I will talk to you later. Bye.